Music theory. In today's video, I want to give you pretty much a deep dive of everything I would want to teach a beginner. If you were a student with me here in this room and we were having a lesson together, this may not be everything I would cover in one lesson. We probably stretch this out like over a month, but I'll try to cover as much as I can for this YouTube video. And you can for sure make use of timestamps or pause the video and move on when you're ready to move on. Everything I want to cover in today's video is stuff that has really made music theory fun to me. I think that there's definitely an academic way of learning music theory where you can study textbooks and things like that, but there are certain things like mnemonic devices. Here is my t-shirt, Fat Cats Get Dizzy After Eating Breakfast. This is the order of sharps. So as I'm learning music theory, I like to learn it in ways that are fun, not so much the academic textbook heavy way. I don't want you to have a headache at the end of this video, but there are certain fun ways that I've discovered over the years and personally have worked out for me. If you don't know my story already, back in 2009, I began work as a music major in school. I had never been a band kid. I had had a few drum lessons in high school and I knew how to play a few chords on the guitar, but I definitely couldn't read music. And I was definitely nervous going into college because I never took like band class or anything official like that. Luckily, I had a teacher that taught me music theory using note cards, and it really unlocked a fun way of memorization, which I'll show you in today's video. Now, this video is not being sponsored whatsoever, except for me, because I put out this book here, Music Theory for Guitar Players by Chris Green. It is available as a paperback form on Amazon. You can check links in the description. I've also just recorded the audiobook version of this book. If you get the audiobook version from my website, heychrisgreen.com, it does come with a PDF that has all the note card diagrams that you can print off or you can copy as needed. Plus, I narrate the whole book myself. This work is free from AI, as my wife will attest. She has seen me laboring over it for quite some time, and now it is available to you. So make sure you check the links in the description. Music Theory for Guitar Players, available on Amazon, and then also on my website. You can check out the audiobook version. All right, so music theory. I'm going to cover all this stuff definitely in my book. In today's video, I want to give you the fun things that have made all the difference. So I'm going to give you a little example. I don't know how else to do this other than just to be a little bit awkward here on YouTube. I'm going to cover my eyes. And by covering my eyes, you know that I am not cheating. I don't have an earpiece in on either side. I'm just going to quote to you what is known as the circle of fifths. There are a lot of uses for the circle of fifths, which we will not be covering all in today's video, but this is something that I would expect a new student who is learning music theory to be able to pick up on by the end of this video. The things that I'm showing you how to put in place, this would be the goal. So let me start off. First, we're going to have C flat is C flat, E flat, G flat, then G flat, B flat, D flat, then D flat, F, A flat, then A flat, C, E flat, then E flat, G, B flat, D, F, F, A, C, C, E, G, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C sharp, E, G sharp, B, D sharp, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, and then C sharp, E sharp, G sharp. I've just quoted to you all of the major triads that are found on the circle of fifths. What's the use of that? Well, we'll get to it later, but if you are ever looking at a chord diagram and you see something like a C sus2 chord, well, C sus2 is going to be removing the third, so it's no longer C, E, G, it is now C, D, G. Being able to read charts, being able to know what chords are, being able to know that an E major scale has 4 sharps. Those sharps are Fat Cats Get Dizzy, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Being able to know that stuff is going to make a huge difference when it comes to writing your scales or performing well on tests, whether you're in school for music theory or you're just playing around on the guitar. Also, if you're a producer and you're used to seeing that piano roll in your playing, so virtual instrument, you'd be able to see all the different places you can put different samples, or you can diagram your MIDI notes. Well, how do you know where to put all the MIDI notes? That's where music theory kind of comes into play. You can certainly have luck and just throwing things around, but I guarantee you most of the compositions you've heard of, even in pop music, have had people who know their basic music theory. They know what notes are in certain keys and which notes that aren't in certain keys, but they can make use of by using a little bit of their theory brain. So all in all, I want to make this fun for you. My method is generally going to involve memorization and using things like the note cards system. So I detail all this in my book. Definitely check that out if any of this is interesting to you. But let's just start off with some note cards. So I'm going to take here on my desk, just grabbing a Sharpie, and we usually will have 15 note cards. if you're going to be labeling them all just like I was just reciting them earlier, make sure you have at least 15 note cards, but we're going to start pretty easy. We're going to start with C. So we're writing C on one side. Then we have 0 on the other, and then C, E, and G. I didn't center that up very well, but C, E, G, 0 on one side, and then C on the other. After C, we're going to have G. So we have G on one side. We're going to write the number 1, and then we're going to put G, B, and D. For our next note card, we're going to write D. We're going to have D, F sharp, A. Then we're going to have the number 2. Notice that the numbers are ascending by single digits. So after D, we're going to have A. A is going to have the number 3 at the top, and then it's going to have A, C sharp, E. Then after A, we're going E. Then we have E, G sharp, sorry, I did that G weird, B, the number 4. Then we're going to have B. We have B, D sharp, F sharp. We're going to have 5. We'll do F sharp, which is going to be 6. We're going to do F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. Now this next one, it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't require you to have a C sharp card. I'll explain that in a little bit, but if you want to add C sharp, sometimes people in the comment section, they get nervous about not having a C sharp card. It's totally fine. We'll explain that later, but essentially C sharp is going to be 7, and then we're going to have C sharp, E sharp, and G sharp. So just for now, speaking of sharps, we're going to let our piano player friends kind of sit for a minute. Important for them to learn these as well. Now we have all of these note cards. So I believe that's 8 note cards. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and seems like this one's stuck. 8. Did I write this on? I wrote this on the wrong side. Okay, so I have a G, a B, D card, and I have a G. I need to fix this one here. That was stuck together. My apologies. G, B, D, 1. Okay, we've got 8 note cards here. And so my first assignment to you, as you are looking at these 8 note cards, first assignment, your first day of class, first time we're having a lesson together, I would ask you to have these 8 note cards, and I would ask you to just memorize the number that goes with each card. So don't worry too much about the 3 letters that are on the back side of these cards, but I would say G, and I would say 1, okay? So G is 1. E is 4. I want to see 4 right there. I want you to be able to recite these. F sharp is 6, okay? Great. C is 0. C sharp is 7, okay? So you're going through all these and we're just memorizing the number. Now this is where the fun little dice comes into play. We actually got this for our daughter. She will be working on stuff like homeschooling with mom, and we use this sometimes to roll it around and she'll pick the subject or whatever they're gonna talk about next. They'll say, okay, well, it needs to land on a number like 2 or whatever, and we'll do math. 3 will be language arts and what have you. What I want you to do with this is basically you just roll the dice. It lands on 1, G. I want you to say that number, the letter that goes with the number as fast as you can. 2, D, D major, D. 2, D major. How many times am I going to get that? Okay. 5, we have B major. B is 5. Correct. B, 5. So you can basically roll this around. 2 is D again. 1 is G. 2 is D. 3 is A. E is 4. B is 5. F sharp is 6. Now, let's talk about C sharp for a minute. What you will learn with C sharp and C flat is that they are both 7. And C is 0. To me, if you have C memorized, you will inevitably kind of already know C sharp. You already know C flat. Okay, C is 0, C sharp is 7, and as we'll see in a little bit, C flat is also 7. So now we want to talk about what those numbers actually mean. So if you were going to have lesson 2, you would come in, and by our next lesson, you would have all 8 of these letters memorized with the number that they go with. D is 2, A is 3, C is 0, and so forth. The number you've been memorizing is the number of sharps that are in that key. The sharps in the key of G major, which has 1, it has 1 sharp, and that sharp is F sharp. So this is where our fun mnemonic device comes in. I believe I've already got one made for this. Yes, here we go. So here I have a note card. It is fat cats get dizzy after eating breakfast. As you can see, F, C, G, D, A, E, and B. This is our order of sharps. So I can write that across the top. Order of sharps. As you can see, there's a cat, like the cat that is on my shirt. Fat cats get dizzy after eating breakfast. I want you to memorize that mnemonic device. Basically, each letter that starts the word fat cats get dizzy as F, C, G, and D. That tells you what notes are going to be sharp in that major key. So if we take G major, for instance, G major has 1 sharp. You've memorized 1, and I look at this and I say F, F sharp. So all of the notes in G major, if I wrote out a G major scale, make sure you can see it here. At the bottom of this card, I'm going to write out G. I'm going to write all the notes from G to G. Let's see if I can space this out really well. Now, in music, we don't have the notes H, I, J, K. Western music, we start on A, we go to G, and then we start over again at A. So here we have G. Our next note is not H. It's going to be A. We're going B. We're going C, D, E, and then F. I worked that out pretty well. So here at the bottom of the card, at the bottom of our G card, I've written out the G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Only problem is the G major scale is supposed to have 1 sharp. What is supposed to be sharp in the key of G major? Well, the first letter is F. It's supposed to be F sharp. So a G major scale is actually spelled G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Did you see how I got to that point? If you play G major on your guitar, you would play the note G, then A, then B, C, D, E, then F sharp, and then G. So this is a G major scale, and just by memorizing the number, you've been able to write out the scale. Let's take a more difficult one. So B, if I said B, what would you say? You should say B5. B has 5 sharps in it. And if I were to write out a B major scale, what I want to do first is just list out all of the letters. Can you spell your alphabet from B? And next comes C, then D, then E, then F, then G, and then musically it starts over. We have A and then B. So here is my B major scale. Problem is I need to add in the sharps. How many sharps are in B major? There are 5 sharps in B major. What sharps are they? How do I know which one is sharp? I look at fat cats get dizzy after eating breakfast. Fat cats get dizzy after. Did you see how we wrote that out? Now I've got B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. That is a B major scale. Why? We'll get to that in just a little bit. We'll talk about whole steps and half steps. But if you're working on memory work, you want to memorize this quickly, this is the way that I'm working it out in my head. C major is a fun one because C major has 0. So what do you think we would do? Well, first we want to write out all of our letters. We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Is that my C major scale? Well, we have to ask ourselves, what's the number associated with C major? It is 0. There are 0 sharps in the key of C major. So we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. That is a C major scale. If you play a C major scale on the piano, you simply play the C note on the piano and then play every white key until you reach C at the top. If you're writing out your major scales, it's not 100% pertinent that you have this C at the top. Your teacher may require you to add that. It's totally fine. I'll probably put that as well, but I'm going to notate this one as being an octave higher than the other C, which we'll get to that at a future time. Okay. So that is our order of sharps, and hopefully you've picked up on how to put those to use in writing your scales. If we have F sharp, this one's going to have quite a lot. We're going to write out all of the notes first. We're going to have F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then F sharp again at the top. It has 6 fat cats get dizzy after eating, and then breakfast is B. That will give us our 6 sharps. B is not sharp. Now we need to talk about our flats. Could you see any of that? Hopefully you could see it. Okay, so make sure you pause at any point if all that is confusing or you need to go back. You can certainly refer to those. I'm gonna move on to our flats so that our piano player friends won't feel like they're being left out whatsoever. I'm gonna take some more note cards, and really when it comes to the order of flats, there is gonna be another mnemonic device that we're gonna use, but you'll see, I'll just do a few of these. It's gonna make it so much easier if you have the sharps already memorized. So I'm gonna start with C flat. Again, C flat, C sharp, those aren't super, I'm not worried about those if you don't have a card for these, but I'm just, don't wanna leave anybody out. Somebody out there is gonna write an awesome song in the key of C flat. I want them to share it with me. And then they're going to be world renowned because they chose to use C flat. Okay, so C flat is here. It's got the number 7 because there are 7 flats in the key of C flat. If I were to write out a C flat major scale, I'll do the same thing. I'm just going to write out the letter values from C to C. But then since there are 7 flats, literally everything is going to get its own flat. It is the polar opposite of what we had with C sharp major. C sharp major, I don't know if I'll be able to find it in appropriate timing. Okay, C sharp major had 7 sharps and every single note is sharp. So here we have C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B sharp. Every note is sharp. So this is why I was making a deal about the C card. If you have C memorized, that C is 0, then you know that C flat is going to be 7 and C sharp is going to be 7. That is because there is a yin and yang in music in that the flats key, the flats version of whatever key you're in, is going to add up to 7 pretty much every single time. So we've got our C flat card. Let's move on. I'll try not to spend too much time belaboring these, but G flat. For G flat, the number is going to be 6, okay? G flat, B flat, and D flat. So again, I said I wasn't going to belabor this, but here's how we work out our flats. If you have G, B, and D memorized and they are 1, then G flat must be 6. It's going to add up to 7. And that's why I say if you've memorized your sharps, if you memorize your naturals, then you'll be able to alter them from there. If G major has 1 sharp, then G flat major has 6 flats. Okay, we'll go over how to know what those flats are in literally just a few seconds. Let me just work through the rest of these just so you can let it sink in. D flat. What do you think about D flat? If D natural, if D major has 2 sharps in it, then how many flats do we have in D flat? Well, 7 minus 2 is 5. So we're going to put 5 up here. We're going to have D flat, F, and A flat. Notice that the D major card, which we had was D, F sharp, A. Now we're at D flat, F, A flat. A little bit different, okay? Just a few more cards. Let me rifle these through to make sure you have them. Again, if you get the audiobook version of my book, Music Theory for Guitar Players, the audiobook version on my website, heychrisgreen.com, there is a PDF that goes with the MP3 file that has all this stuff that you can print out, cut out your own cards if you want to, or just to be able to see them visually a lot better than what I'm doing here. What did I leave off on? We're on A flat. Okay, so A flat is going to be A flat, C, E flat. A major has 3 sharps, so how many flats does A flat major have? 7 minus 3 is 4, so we're going to write a 4 for that. Then we're moving on to E flat. E flat is going to be E flat, G, B flat, sorry. And then we have 4 sharps in E. 7 minus 4 is 3, so we have 3 flats in E flat. Just a few more here. We've got B flat. B flat is going to be spelled B flat, D, F. It is going to have, B major has 5 sharps. 7 minus 5 is 2. So there are 2 flats in the key of B flat. Then F major, it's not F flat major. We're just talking about F natural here. F major, if F sharp has 6 sharps in it, then F natural has 1 flat. So this is going to be F, A, C. And that should be it. I believe we've got all the note cards. So all in all, you should have 15 note cards that have a letter on one side, and then they have the triad on the back with a number. So the way that, again, I want to recommend that you start working through these is to start with the naturals and sharps so that you can say G. G is 1, G, B, D. So if you have your naturals figured out, like C major, for example, C major has 0 sharps, it has 0 flats. It's spelled C-E-G. C sharp major, or C flat, we have C flat. C flat has 7 flats. C sharp major has 7 sharps. I believe I've got it here somewhere. D flat major, D has 2, D flat has 5. Okay. We'll get all of these lined up in order, and here we're going to start talking about what to do next. I believe I've got 15. Okay, I'm going to order these up. Now, for me, I didn't have a buddy too much, not in school, my first year of college. I was pretty much nervous that I wasn't going to be able to keep up at all when it came to music theory, and so what I would do is I would sit in my car during lunch, and I would have these note cards with me, and I would just drill them. I would take up this first one and go F sharp. Okay, F sharp has 6 sharps. The triad for F sharp is F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. Yes, correct. Quiz yourself. Have a friend quiz you if you need to. Make use of the dice. Excuse me, now instead of this being sharps, this can be flats. Roll this around. What has 3 flats? That's going to be E flat, because E major has 4 sharps. E flat has 3 flats. 2, what has 2 flats? B major has 5 sharps, so B flat major has 2. We're always going to add up to 7. You can make use of the dice with that as well, or just have the note cards, have a friend quiz you. It is at this point, once you have the letter and the number memorized, I want you to be memorizing the triads. So these are the 3 notes that go with each card. G major, I want you to think G1, G, B, D. G, B, and D. You'll see that it's pretty easy to figure this out. If you've been working on the major scale whatsoever, what we have here are represented as the first, the third, and the 5th note in each key. So if I am in G major, as you can see at the bottom of the page, the first note, this is my tonic, okay, is G. So we're starting with G. That's an easy one, right? Then we're going to skip a letter, and we have our third, and then we have our 5th. So G, B, and D. On the back of the card, G, B, and D. G, B, D spells a G major chord. The G major triad is G, B, and D. Now, major chords, to get into the formula of it, major chords are built off of major thirds followed by minor thirds. So the distance from G to B on the piano, the distance from G to B on the guitar is going to be known as a major third, okay? We always want to go up by a major third, and then after that, we want to go up a minor third, okay? So a minor third is going to be a half step lower than a major third. In my book, Music Theory for Guitar Players, I have a very specific chapter detailing intervals in music. We talk about those distances. How far is a minor second? How far is a major second? How far is a minor third and a major third? So a minor second is going to be the distance of 1 fret on your guitar. Or if you're on the piano, it's going to be the distance of 1 key. Think of Jaws when you're hearing da 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 da, that shark is on its way. That is known as a minor second interval. That is known as a half step. So 2 adjacent keys on the piano, 2 adjacent frets on the guitar. If you're going from fret 1 of the low E string and you're going to fret 2 of the low E string, that is a half step. That's also known as a minor second. So you can figure that out from here. After a minor second, we have a major second. A major second is going to be 2 half steps. I'm going to write this out for you, make a little sense of it. So a minor second equals 1 half step, okay? A major second, if you see a capital M followed by a 2, we have 2 half steps. Then a minor third is going to increase again by a half step. We have 3 half steps. Major third is going to be this capital M with the 3. That is going to be 4 half steps. And then we can go on from there. We have perfect fourths, tritones, and perfect fifths. Now, on the chord structures, when we're getting started with music, definitely the major third and the minor third, those are the intervals that you're going to want to memorize as well as possible. So to construct a major chord, major chords are built from a root, a major third, and then a minor third interval. If you're starting out and all this is brand new, again, memorize the number associated with each letter. So G is 1, it means it has 1 sharp. Fat cats get dizzy after eating breakfast. That 1 sharp is F sharp. You'll be good to go with that. The next step, the next level, if you will, is to memorize the 3 notes that are associated with that chord. So the key of G major is going to have G, B, and D. The G, B, D notes create a G major triad. Mostly every chord that we're going to build when it comes to minor chords, sus chords, add chords, diminished chords, 7 chords, all of them can begin with a major chord and just altering a few of the notes. So it's very crucial that you go ahead and memorize these 3 letters. Again, you don't have to start with the flats. You can take the original 8 note cards that we made, such as F sharp, and memorize F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. The distance from F sharp to A sharp is a major third. The distance from A sharp to C sharp is known as a minor third. So our major chord triad in F sharp is F sharp, A sharp, and C sharp. A little bit of practical notes for you here. If you are a bass player, if you're a bass player and you're playing a song and you're looking at a chord chart and you know that F sharp is F sharp, A sharp, and C sharp, have some fun with it. Because if your band is playing just a root position F sharp major chord and you want to try to throw in an A sharp or a C sharp, you should be good to do so. It will change the vibe of the song, but these are letting you know what are some acceptable notes for you to play within that chord. I certainly, if I was playing along with my band and we were in the key of F sharp, if I played a G natural, that G natural would not sound great in the key of F sharp without giving some context. There are ways, just like with all of like science and mathematics, you kind of learn the rules and then you learn how to break the rules. But case in point, if you can memorize these 3 notes with each of the triads, you'll be good to go. The key of E major, E, G sharp, B. Very important to memorize which ones have sharps and which ones are not. A major has 3 sharps. We're going to go A, C sharp, E. There, 3, memorize the number, and I want you to memorize the letters that go with it. Now I want to show you something. We'll take the notes here from, let's see, might use G flat, might use a different one. Let's go with A flat. I think A flat's a good one to learn from. So I said memorize the sharps first and foremost because we all know that sharps are better than flats. That's just a guitar humor joke there for you. But if you've memorized A, C sharp, E, it would be very easy to figure out A flat. That is because if you look at the A flat card, it is essentially the same letters. We have just taken each of the letters and we have decreased them by a half step. The distance from C sharp to C natural is known as a half step. So that's 1 flat has been placed. We have flattened the C sharp and it has become a C. We've also put a flat on the A note. So natural notes become flattened, sharp notes become natural, and natural notes become flattened. Does that make sense? So if you're trying to work out what is my chord structure for A flat major, if you already have A major memorized, you know A, C sharp, E, then you should be able to quickly go A flat, C, E flat. Again, there's that yin and yang factor going on. Okay, my voice. I can feel my voice kind of thrown out, so we may have to continue this on a future video, but I do want to cover a few more things just as we are getting well into this. Now, in future videos, we'll talk about scales and things. I don't want to get to that too much because we've talked a lot about chords, and I feel like if I don't show you how we can use these chords that we've thrown in, then you might miss out on the application part of it. So again, let's go back to A major. Here we have the A major chord, which is A, C sharp, E. But like I told you, if we're writing out our major scale, we're going to list all of the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we have A again. I ask you how many sharps are in the key of A major. You would say 3. Which sharps are they? They're fat, cats, and get. So here we have all of our notes. This right here is a root position A major chord. If you're looking at a chord chart, let's make a little chord chart here. Let's say a deer ran by. Okay, this is my lyric. And here I've got a deer ran by. On the word by, we're going to play in A major. This would be like typical chord chart. You're going to see an A. If you see a capital A, that is going to be A major most of the time. It's kind of written above the text. If you've seen a chord chart, to be familiar with what we're saying. So if I'm playing this song, when I get to the word by, I need to play the notes A, C sharp, and E all together. If I play these simultaneously, I have an A major chord. Well, now I want to show you something called an add chord. So if you happen to see, we're going to see A add 2. If you see something like this is now, it's really small on the camera. Okay, yeah, so here we have A add 2. So you might be asking yourself, what in the world is an A add 2 chord? Add chords always add, okay? So an add chord adds one note, okay? We're just gonna say add chord adds one note. How do you know what note to add if it says add 2? What are your guesses? Well, we're actually gonna add the second, which is going to be the note B. So here we have represented, remember I said this earlier, we have the 1, 3, and the 5 within the key of A major. So if we are in A major, and this is my 1, this is my 3, and this is my 5, where would the 2 be? If I'm gonna add a 2, the 2 is right here. That's gonna be the note B. And where does that go? It goes in between A and C sharp. So this is our 2. So if I'm going to play an A flat, an A add 2 chord, A add 2, that's going to be a 4-note chord, and it's going to be comprised of A, C sharp, E, and also the note B. In between the A and the C sharp, we have the note B. So A, B, C sharp, E, that is known as an add 2 chord. Let's go back to this. Instead of it being an add chord, let's go another. Let's do A add 4. What would you think? If it's an A add 4 chord, then we're adding the note D right here, because in the key of A major, we have A, B, C sharp, D, E. The D is going to be the 4. So if I have the notes A, C sharp, D, and E, if I see those notes, all 4 of them together, that is going to be an A add 4 chord. There's one other type of chord I want to show you. Maybe we need to pick a different note card for this one, but it's called the sus chord. You've probably seen this one more common. It removes the 3rd and adds something else. Okay, so whereas an add chord adds to what we're doing, a G flat sus chord, if we had the song and let's just say a deer ran by, we have a deer ran by, and let's say now we need to do a G flat sus 2. G flat sus 2 looks pretty intimidating, right? What it is a G flat major chord, right? The sus tells us that we're going to suspend, or we're going to remove the 3rd, and we're going to add the 2nd. So in G flat, we're going to go G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We know that in G flat, there are 6 flats. Pretty much every note is a flat except for F, okay? So F is going to remain the same. Have I not gone over before eating a donut? I don't think I have. I've done this all out of order now. Got carried away with the flats. So you're probably asking yourself at some point in this video, how in the world did he decide what notes were going to be flat or not? Okay, so we had fat cats get dizzy after eating breakfast. The mnemonic device we use for this is the exact opposite. So you see this is F, C, G, D, A, E, B. But if you read it this way, it's before eating a donut, get coffee first. Before eating a donut, get coffee first. It is the opposite order, but this tells us the order of flats. So in G flat, we have 6 flats. Those flats are B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat. The only note that is not flat in the key of G flat is F. So that is how I got to G flat major. I totally apologize. Lots of stuff to cover in this video. I'm not sure how that's going to work out in timestamps world, but let's go back to this. We have a G flat sus 2. So in our G flat major chord, we have G flat, B flat, D flat. We need to add the second. So what is the second? That is going to be the note A flat. So G flat, A flat, and D flat is a triad, but it's missing the third. We have suspended the third and replaced it with the second interval. So G flat, A flat, and D flat is how you would play a G flat sus2 chord. And moving on from there, just so you know, let's remember that add chords, add a note, sus chords will remove the third and then add something else. How do you know what to add? Well, just look at the name of the chord itself. G flat, sus, 2. G flat chord, suspend the third, add the 2. Okay? You could also have G flat, sus, 4. All right? What is God's favorite chord? G sus. That's a little joke there. Okay. G flat sus 4, we're going to suspend the third. We're not using the second anymore, but now we're going to insert the fourth. So what is the fourth scale degree? The fourth scale degree in G flat is C flat. So a G flat, C flat, D flat chord is how you would spell G flat sus 4. Sus chords are going to remove that middle note. They're going to remove the third, and they're going to add something else. Okay. Let's talk even more. My throat can handle it. Might have had some water. It would have been nice. I'm going to take this time to say if you enjoy this material, you're going to absolutely love and enjoy my music theory book, Music Theory for Guitar Players. I tried to write this as if I'm talking to you in person. My wife was the proofreader, and I told her there's going to be some grammar stuff in there. I didn't want anything egregious, but I wanted her to kind of edit it as if it were like speech. Me telling a story to you. If you listen to the audiobook, it should be very similar to this video of me talking to you, explaining to you music theory. I did not want it to come across like any sort of academic textbook. I know this seems overwhelming, covering this in a video, especially if you're a beginner, but like I said, make sure you hit the pause button and just come back and take this down in chunks. You'll be better off for it. Okay, I want to show you one more thing of what we can do if we take our chords here. So up to this point, we've talked about major chords. We've talked about the major scale. We've talked about add chords and sus chords. I want to throw out the minor chord issue. So if you run into a minor chord, well, what do you do? Because all you've got memorized, if this is my G major chord, G is 1, G, B, D. G, B, D is my major chord. How do I get a minor chord? If you remember, this distance from the root to the third, this is a major third interval. So to build a major chord, we go major third, minor third. If you do the opposite, where instead of we go major third, minor third, what if you go minor third and then major third? Well, for us to go a minor third above the root, we would actually go from G to not B, but B flat. So G, B flat, and D is how you spell G minor. You might see a lowercase g with a lowercase m. A G minor chord is a G major chord where the third has been flattened. Okay? Formula-wise, that is a minor third and a major third. So if you remember, originally we're starting with G, B, and D. This is G major. Below the line here, below the dotted line, we have G, B, and D. Everything's all happy. All of a sudden it becomes sad when we take that middle letter and we flatten it. Put one flat in front of it, it is now G, B flat, and D. Now, in our flats world, it gets pretty silly because we start ending up having, let me pick out one here. A nice way to keep these in order. So if I'm taking D flat, this is D flat major, D flat, F, A flat. How do I make it minor? I just simply flatten the third. D flat, F flat, A flat. That is a D flat minor chord. I don't guess I'm going to have this one here. If we're going from B major is B, D sharp, F sharp. Well, we don't go B, D flat, F sharp. That would not be correct, okay? That's going too far. So it's not B, D flat, F sharp. That is not a B minor chord. There is a note in between because remember, instead of being sharp, this is now natural. You may have seen this sign before. B, D, F sharp is how you spell a B minor chord. Okay, so B minor is B, D, F sharp. Take the middle note, lower it just a half step. If you already have a flat in place, it is possible to have notes that have a double flat. There's also such thing as a double sharp. You get to that with augmented chords and diminished chords, which we will not be covering in this lesson. But essentially, if you need to sharp something and it's already sharp, simply just add a sharp to it. So this is a C double sharp is how you say that. Not super common. I would venture to say most of the notes and chords out there where you see something like a double sharp, it's not going to be a lot of like pop music, but it's certainly something that you want to learn with music theory. Okay, my voice is about as scattered as it can get, so I would like to say thank you for watching this video. As I said, I want to make this video to show you that there are fun ways to learn music theory, and that's certainly been covered in my book as well. Everything that we talked about in this video and then some. We didn't get to diminished chords whatsoever, but that's covered in this book. I didn't really labor too much on intervals, but that is also in the book as well, in writing out your major scales. If you put to memory these things that are in place, I can guarantee you, you're going to have a leg up when it comes to starting Music Theory 101, whether you're going into school or just starting your guitar lessons or music lessons in general. This will definitely pay off years and years ahead. Like I said, I graduated in 2013. Ever since then, I've been using this stuff pretty much on a weekly basis. So it's very helpful to have this stuff put to memory. Let me know in the comment section how it's going. I'll be sure to put links in the description to my book. It's also available as an audiobook if you're interested, the audiobook, the ebook, and paperback as well. My name is Chris Green. Thanks so much for watching this video. Good luck out there, and I'll see you next week for another video. Thanks for watching. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I've said, my book is available. Links in the description below. I just finished this thing up. Look at these note cards. These note cards are everywhere. This looks like something like a mad scientist would be up to. But if you're familiar with the material, you've seen my videos before, you know it's a lot simpler than what it may seem like. So don't let anybody get you down when they see your note cards all over the place, looking like a crazy person. Check out the book today, Music Theory for Guitar Players. Links in the description. Now, YouTube is recommending this next video here, floating beside my head. So be sure to check that out and let me know how life is going in the comment section.